Your turn. No, you go ahead.
Go.
You're the one who knows how to make a video, apparently. So.
Anytime now.
Yep. Oh, so this is how a perfect video would turn out, as if I started. Okay. So, my wife, who's infinitely wiser than I, thinks...
The sarcasm.
No, I meant that with the actual sincerity. I thinks that we put a caveat in between our two channels, I guess, and what's actually going on. I think I'd actually mentioned it in my Welcome to video that since we have had completely different backgrounds, then it was that my channel was going to be totally different than hers, and our approaches were going to be different. So, but she finally watched one of my videos. I'm so happy.
And I thought, oh my gosh, everybody's going to think we're crazy tin hatters. So, from my background, I came from a family that was very preparedness oriented. I was raised with sleeping bags and boots that could withstand -70. I mean, because my parents felt like it was really important. But it felt like we lived a lot in preparation for things that were never going to happen. So the way that I look at it is, if it's a tool that's good for preparedness, it has to be of use in my everyday life. And generally it has to do with lifestyle and healthy living. It doesn't have to do with fear. It's just the things that I believe that are going on with the government and with just the world in general are not about being self-reliant. They're about thinking that you're living a better life just because you have a washing machine or because you have a television to entertain yourself. And I feel like I just want to live a life that's close to nature and that we eat good food. That's really where everything that I do comes from. And in order to be able to do that, I have to be cheap because we don't make a lot of money. And in order for us to eat these better foods, I have to be able to create them myself. And I believe that by doing that, it's better for us anyway. So I don't believe in being really a prepper. I think it's more of a lifestyle thing. It's not prepping for any terrible catastrophe. Mr. Dirt does not feel that way.
My thoughts, well, no, I actually agree with her fully. However, I think being a prepper is not necessarily just stockpiling a whole bunch of food. It's there should be a background and research and some skills behind it as well. It's not like you're just hoarding a whole bunch of stuff that you may or may not ever use. My thoughts on the world around us is that it's an illusion, and
it's the Matrix.
It is.
We live in the Matrix.
We are completely plugged in, and so my background, I was public school graduate. Everything was just of the system. My dad being a former police officer, my mom going all the way through education, academia. I mean, they were there were just systems set up, and there was just no chance that these systems would ever fall apart. Then I discovered that, maybe the world's not perfect. It's not this wonderful little bubble that we could all live in. And so I guess although it could appear like maybe I'm coming at it from a place of fear, that where I'm always worried about the world collapsing all around us, I'm figuring, yes. Yes, go ahead. So there's no, it's not a fear thing. It's a make sure to be prepared just in case, because the world just may or may not happen. Those of you who maybe have lived through Hurricane Sandy, Hurricane Katrina, tornadoes that are going on right now. I mean, the power doesn't always stay on. The lights don't always turn on when you flip the switch. That happened to us this winter too. In fact, that's a good video. Maybe we ought to bring it up. Is what we did is our power went out for a few hours.
It was more than a few hours.
But we had a couple of what we would call inconveniences. If that were to happen for a couple of days, a few days rather than a few hours, it would have been more than minor little inconveniences. It would have become minor problems that would have, even if it would have stretched out longer, would have become bigger problems. So
right, but the biggest thing was that we didn't have the chimney clean, and so it was, even though we had the wood stove going anyway, and we had water in our house, everything was still fine. everything was working,
Right.
and it would have been inconvenient to have to do laundry by hand, but it wasn't something that was life-threatening, and our house was still warm enough.
Right.
What we missed was our fan that moves the heat from our wood stove into the rest of the house. That was pretty much the only thing that really was a surprise. Was we thought we were pretty prepared,
Right.
and then we didn't have the electricity to run that little fan, and so the only warm place was in the kitchen up closer to the wood stove.
And then, no, there was one other problem, but I guess I'm confusing power outages. We had our plumbing. You're supposed, if I recall right, you're supposed to have a valve in your main plumbing that will not let the water flow backwards. And so the first power outage I remember here, it did not. That valve didn't work, or maybe we don't have one, or it's stuck open for some reason. But we lost all of our plumbing. We couldn't flush our toilets, and so that one, and I remember we were carrying our storage water down to flush toilets at times. So, like I said, there are minor inconveniences. If it was to drag on for a prolonged period, that could be a bigger issue. So that's all that. That's the direction that I'm coming at from. It's not necessarily put a tinfoil hat on and run around screaming that the world's going to end. It's just, hey, possibly be conscious that maybe there is a potential here for a problem. So, do you feel better? Do we feel better?
About what?
About how?
We just come at things. We end up in the same place, coming at it from different directions.
Exactly.
Mine is totally not prepper. Mine is just everyday life. This is the way I want to live, and he doesn't come from that place, and so. But we come to the same destination, so it doesn't really matter which direction we're coming from because we have the same goal in the end.
Right. And I guess I do see the benefits from her direction as well, because we are eating much healthier, and we're not eating out of cans, and we're not eating MREs, and we're not eating fast food, box food all the time either. So we also feel better in our everyday lives because of it. So,
anything else?
I can't think of anything.
All right.
Thanks.
Talk to you later.